Perfect Talk is what it do. It's your man DJ Playboy. On this episode, we're going to talk about Tupac's 1996 case finally being solved. Also, your man Usher's holding down the Super Bowl. Joe Biden calls LL Cool J. Boy, what's going on here? Travis Kelce bagged up Taylor Swift. We gotta talk about that. Give your man some props. And also, we gotta send thoughts and prayers out to Krayzie and Bone Thugs and Harmony. And also, stay tuned. We got our small business segment, Perfect Talk Product Talk, with my man Chaz Knox and BrunoKnox. All that and much, much more. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get to it, baby.
DJ Playboy.
What's good, y'all? It's your man DJ Playboy back with another episode of the Perfect Talk Podcast. I'm here rocking solo dolo with y'all. It's early in the morning. I got my little pineapple juice. Actually, no, it's coconut water with a little pineapple juice in there. You know what I'm saying? Just to keep me hydrated. It's fall. It's autumn. Football, full swing. You know what I mean? Kids back to school. Just been hustling, getting my kid up every day. I ain't gonna first, but a photo finish getting up to that school bus. You know what I mean? Summer vacation hit me hard. But we back at it, man. We making it work. And yeah. Like I said, college football's popping. Shout out Dion. Shout out, you know what I mean, all the NFL teams out there rocking. Shout out all my New York teams. You know I'm always rocking with the New York teams no matter what they do, you know what I mean? So Jets, Giants, Bills, keep holding it down. And if we're going to talk about the NFL, let's go right into Plicker's Spotlight Story. If you don't know, that's when I might take a little story or a big story and shine some light on it, depending on, you know what I mean, if it needs it or not. This one was a big one. This one was everywhere. You couldn't avoid this one no matter what side you fall on, what side of the aisle you on, what culture you rock with, identify with. You seen this story. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Now, Taylor Swift, you know, she's known to, she dates. She's a single lady. She's out here. She's allowed to do that. You know what I mean? She has recently, I think, dated Matt Healy as of late, and then that fizzled out, you know what I mean, maybe because of his comments about Ice Spice, maybe because of some other stuff, but, you know, that fizzled out over the summer, and my man Travis Kelce said, I'm gonna shoot my shot. It's my time. I done won these Super Bowls, you know what I'm saying, I'm in all these commercials, it's time for me to let Taylor know. He went to the concert, he said he didn't get to meet her, he didn't get to give her the friendship bracelet with his number on it, said it on his popular podcast, and he knew what would happen. He knew word would get back. You know what I mean? And the rumors was going around. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But shout out Taylor. She know how to make a statement. She said, I'm going to show up in that box. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to own the media. Like, damn, who's doing the Super Bowl this year? I'm going to own today. She showed up in the box. And next to Travis Kelce's moms. And, you know, just everybody went crazy. The internet went crazy. Every sports break, I was watching football, and every, you know, how they do a break when they show you another game that you may not be watching, everyone was Taylor Swift in the box. It was nuts. Every sports announcer had a corny joke to say. It was slightly annoying. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna front, but I can't knock it. You know what I'm saying? When you're a big deal, when you make noise, when your name ring bells like Sunday at 12 o'clock. Now, well, I felt like we gotta, you know, talk about this. It's like, why is our culture, and I'm guilty of it too, don't get it twisted, but it's just, why does our culture just turn into junior high school students when you find out a celebrity might be dating another celebrity? Like, why is it everybody's got to have a corny comment? Everybody's, you know, got to throw their 2 cents in. Everybody got to say how they feel about it. Black women were like, damn, Travis. Because if you don't know, Travis has been known to date the sisters in the past, and you know, he had to come back home. He had to go on back home. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Taylor's a big deal. She gonna bring anybody back to that side. I can't knock it. You know what I mean? Like I said, when you make noise, when you do your thing, people are gonna pay attention. All I say is, Travis, you got 2 responsibilities, man. Make sure you just keep winning, because people gonna be quick to hop on the hate Taylor train if you just start slacking out there in the streets, if you start slipping on the field, if you just start looking crazy, yeah, they're gonna blame Taylor. And also make sure she keeps dropping bangers, because the second she stops dropping bangers, they're coming for your neck, Travis. They're gonna be like, it's you. It's you slowing down the flow. It's you killing the funk. You know what I'm saying? It's you killing the vibe. So, you know what I mean? Make sure she stay working in the studio. Taylor, make sure he stay in the gym. Everybody gonna keep winning. Everybody gonna be happy. And then y'all can ride off in the sunset together, man. But let's get right into Have You Heard? That's when I take, you know what I'm saying, some of the stories that have happened throughout the week. You may have heard, you may have not heard. I just want to see if you have. And if not, I'm going to let you know. Now this one goes back to 1996, dog. You know what I'm saying? I woke up one morning, found out Tupac got shot. And I was like, damn. Now, this wasn't the first time in my life that Tupac had gotten shot. So I was kind of like, all right, he gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? He gonna come back, drop another couple songs about it. You know what I mean? I know you heard Biggie say that before. But now this was different, man. He passed away a couple days later, and it was one of the craziest unsolved mysteries that we've had in about the past 30 years. John Benet Ramsey, unsolved mystery. You know what I mean? Nicole Brown Simpson, unsolved mystery. You know what I mean? If you want to call it that. But yeah, Tupac was in that list. And they made an arrest. I remember a couple months ago you heard they did a raid over there in Las Vegas and wanted to see what was going on, but no arrest came from it. Not actually any information came from it or anything like that. But finally, law enforcement officials announced on this past Friday that 60-year-old Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was charged with one count of murder with use of a deadly weapon with gang enhancement. Now, like I said, 2 months ago, the Las Vegas police raided Keefe D's wife's home in Henderson. They said they were looking for something, but they didn't really specify on what it is they found, what it is they came up with. But yeah, apparently they went through computers, they went through a hard drive, a Vibe magazine with Tupac Shakur on it had some significance, I guess. Bullets for 40 caliber, tubs containing photographs, and a copy of Davis's 2019 tell-all memoir, Compton Street Legend. Man, in this book, the funny thing about this book, Keefe D admitted being there, was being in the car. He said broke down the whole situation happening. So I'm not really understanding two concepts. Why this took so damn long, and number two, why are criminals so obsessed with telling people what the hell it is that they did? Like, I got a theory that just criminals love being caught, man. You got to tell somebody. I remember when I was in junior high school, maybe, I seen a book called, it was a poem by Edgar Allan Poe, I believe, and it was called The Raven. And I guess the main point of the poem is just like, how grief, how you losing somebody, things just always keep reminding you of them, and you can't escape it. And I feel like the same thing happens when somebody commits a crime and they might murder somebody. It's like that ghost haunts them. They got to keep talking about it. They got to tell somebody, because if they hold it in, it's just too much. And your man Keefe D wrote a whole book. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the whole book was about necessarily Tupac's murder, but I think there's definitely an excerpt. I'll read you a little bit right here. That was about it. All in unison, our heads turned. There the motherfuckers go right there. If Pac had not been hanging out the window, we would not have seen him. Buster you. Bubble up, busted a U-turn and hit the gutter lane on their asses. As they sat in traffic, we slowly rolled past the long line of luxury cars they had in their caravan, looking into each one until we pulled up to the front vehicle and found who we were seeking. Like two rams locking horns, Suge and I looked each other dead in the eye. Our eyes locked. The terrified expression on Suge's face read, "Damn, dumb niggas." No words exchanged. The time for talking had passed. The shit was about to go down. The next few seconds all happened so quickly. The shit was on. Tupac made an erratic move and began to reach down beneath the seat. It was the first and only time in my life I could relate to the police command, "Keep your hands where I could see them." Instead, Tupac pulled out a strap, and that's when the fireworks started. One of my guys from the back seat grabbed the Glock and started busting back. The first shot skinned Suge in the head, and I thought the motherfucker was dead. I heard stories that Suge supposedly used Tupac as a shield when the bullets started flying, but that's some bullshit. Suge was already wounded. He was the first one that got touched. Why you would write this in a book is beyond me. You know what I'm saying? And maybe there's a level to it, street fame, that I just don't quite understand. But this is, like I said, man, this is, I don't get that. I don't get why you'd want to go down for a crime. You know what I'm saying? That you pretty much got away with. Like, 20 something years later, you know what I'm saying? Now you sitting damn near 30 years later. Now you gotta sit in the jail for something like that you could have just stayed quiet about. I guess maybe he felt the heat was always on him and it was just eventually gonna come. Probably wondering why it took so long, because Orlando Anderson, which I think is Keefe D's nephew, and Keefe D's name have been mentioned in this from the beginning. Like, investigators said they had a hunch and they just don't, you know what I mean? They felt like they they knew it was him, but just didn't act. Finally, you know, they felt like they found all of the evidence they needed, and it was a head scratcher, man. But I wish Tupac's moms was here to see it. You know what I'm saying? The justice finally be served. Somebody being held responsible for the murder that happened on the Las Vegas Strip after a Mike Tyson fight. You know what I mean? That's gotta hurt that nothing to come out of that. So thoughts and prayers, you know what I'm saying, to Tupac. I'm wearing my Untouchable Death Row shirt right now, you know what I'm saying? Just like I said, it was such an iconic time that happened. It doesn't even really seem real, you know what I mean? And I'm happy that justice is finally being served, but I'm like everybody else wondering what took so damn long. Have you heard? Usher is going to perform the Super Bowl halftime show this year. That's going to be pretty dope. In my opinion, I think I'm a huge fan of Usher, always been since way back in the day. You know what I mean? When he was rocking with Diddy, Jermaine Dupri, just all the eras of Usher, EDM Usher, you know what I'm saying? Grown Usher, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be fly. I think so. I was excited for the whole rollout, for the way they rolled it out. You know, he had commercials with Kim Kardashian, Dion, I believe Odell Beckham as well. Just telling people about it, making them aware about it, playing off the Confessions intro, which is, you know, is an iconic Usher song intro. I didn't quite know, you know what I mean, because I identify with hip hop culture, you know what I'm saying. So I think on my side of things, I don't like to break things down into black and white, because I think it's deeper than that. But I think if you are a fan of hip hop culture, a fan of urban music, you know what I mean, then you probably were happy about this. And I listen to a lot of different podcasts, and you know, from all different genres and backgrounds. And I guess maybe if you don't, maybe if you're more on the pop side of things, or rock side of things, or even born after a certain year, you know, maybe Usher wasn't that big of a draw for you, and you're like, Usher, like, I don't get it, I don't see why. But you know, this makes perfect sense. It's in Vegas, where Usher's been holding down the residency, and it's been getting headlines for the past couple months. Something, if you notice with Rock Nation, what they've been doing, like, none of the acts that have really been performing the Super Bowl are current acts. Like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, you know, that was a throwback. You know what I mean? Even Rihanna, like, who hasn't dropped an album in a very long time. So when you hear her songs, it's got that throwback appeal. And actually Usher, who's been consistently dropping music, is probably beyond the past 2 years, because like he has updated songs. Maybe they might not be as popular as his hits and his songs from back in the day. They're not getting the same amount of like spins or streams, but I think he's still a draw. That Vegas show is not stopping anytime soon, and it's going worldwide. So shout out to Usher, shout out to Rock Nation for making this happen. Shout out to the NFL for realizing. And if you're not a believer in what Usher can do with the halftime show, just pay attention. Go see, because the man's the showman. He's a showman. Like, everybody that they've had for the past couple of years have stepped up to the plate, and I think Usher might be a better performer than all of them. So it's gonna be a big one. I don't think Usher's gonna disappoint. He knows he understands the assignment, so to speak. Have you heard? Joe Biden honored LL Cool J and MC Lyte at the Congressional Black Caucus Phoenix Awards on September 23rd. You know, I mean, Joe Biden's gonna be Joe Biden, and during his speech, man, he I don't know if he's trying to be cute. I doubt it. He flubbed LL Cool J's name. You know what I mean? He goes, two of the greatest artists of our time, representing the groundbreaking legacy of hip hop in America.
LLJ Cool J. By the way, that man's got biceps bigger than my thighs. I think he's been. And MC Lyte, both of you, thank you.
Now that was, you know, controversial for two reasons. Maybe three. How you mess up LL Cool J's name? That's just one of them. You know what I'm saying? It's simple. It's iconic. It's been around for so long. And then I think the bigger thing was he called him boy. He said that boy. You know, it slipped, put it in there, but you know, boy has a racial connotation. Historically, white people have called black individuals, black men, boys, as a way to demean them and make them not seem on equal playing field. And you know, this has been, you know, used kind of as a dog whistle throughout history, as a way to like be racist but not overtly be racist. So I think Joe Biden slipped up there. You know what I mean? And he caught himself. He goes, that boy, that man, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, oh, that sounds crazy. But then there's another racial trope by like saying how big and strong LL Cool J is. You know what I mean? Reminds me of Donald Sterling, how they say he used to walk into the Clippers locker room and be like, look at the muscles on this one. You know what I mean? It gives off slave owners showing off how big and strong slaves are, or admiring how big and strong potential slaves are when purchasing them. You know what I mean? So like, do I think he was being racist, covertly racist? No, I think it was Joe Biden being Joe Biden. Joe Biden's been around for a long time. Maybe he used terms like that in the past and caught himself and said, I can't. Maybe he doesn't realize how offensive I mean, he was giving him a compliment about how big and strong he was, but maybe, in that moment, as a white man, he's not being aware of what I just explained to you. It could come across as. So I think it was just Joe Biden being Joe Biden. MC Light actually agrees. She took to Instagram to kind of defend Joe Biden, saying that she believes it was an honest mistake. He didn't have any malicious intent. She said in regard to the recent occurrence during the Congressional Black Caucus Phoenix Awards, while I do not condone any disrespect of any kind, especially to a black man we all love and hold in high regard, I must say I was actually there, and I do not believe President Biden's comments were malintended. He made a mistake I'm sure he regrets. One of my most fond memories is that of being in the presence of my elders when they made a mistake with a name, sometimes even my own. I pray that we pay more attention to the historic importance of this moment rather than the errors that were made in it. Shout out to MC Light, you know what I mean? She didn't have to come forward and say that at all, you know what I mean? And I guess being in the room, you know what I mean, she felt like that. It's easy for everybody else not in the room to jump on Joe Biden's head and say he's this, say he's that. So I shout out MC Light. I respect MC. She say it's cool. You know what I'm saying? That's almost as good as LL Cool J coming out and saying it. So I respect that. I can't knock it. Joe, you got to do better. You got a black vice president. You know what I mean? So you got to do better. You've messed up in this light before. In your interview with Charlemagne, saying that well, tell you what, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or for Trump, then you ain't black. So, you know what I mean? Which was taken as very offensive, which was used as an example how Democrats kind of take the black vote for granted. So you got to do better, Joe. But do I think he was trying to covertly be racist? No. I just think Joe Biden's old. He's white. Old white man's going to fuck up in that regard sometimes. Have you heard? Krayzie Bone. Shout out to Krayzie Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony. Was hospitalized due to a bleeding artery in his lung. You know what I mean? He checked himself into the hospital just after feeling, some pain in his chest. And I believe he started coughing up blood as well. Doctors detected a bleeding artery in Krayzie Bone's lungs after instructing a CAT scan. As a result, he was immediately operated on and placed on a ventilator. TMZ reported that Krayzie Bone was placed in an induced coma to help with the healing process, as the artery is still bleeding. So that's big, man. Shout out to Bone Thugs and Harmony, one of the biggest groups of my lifetime in terms of rap. I'm sure most people know Krayzie Bone from the Ride and Dirty collabo that he did with Chamillionaire. Just iconic, just songs from Bone Thugs and Harmony. You know what I mean? They've had songs with Tupac and Biggie. They've had songs with everybody. So, you know what I mean? Shout out to Krayzie, man. And I believe he's 50 years old, which is scary because we have such a high number of rappers that from my childhood that have passed away around 50. You know what I mean? So, he looks like he's 50 years old. So thoughts and prayers are with Krayzie Bone. Believe Krayzie Bone in 2016 was diagnosed with sarcoidosis, which is characterized as a growth of inflammatory cells. And I believe they can make like lymph nodes found wherever that may occur within the body. So, yeah, thoughts and prayers, man. You just never know. And I think the lesson to take from it more than anything is when you feel something going on in your body, don't sit down and say it'll go away. Don't be afraid to go to the doctor. Like, the doctor's going to give me bad news. Yeah. No, you got to know. Information is key. Like, Whether it's your, because like, think about it, we treat our cars better than we treat our bodies sometimes, right? You know what I mean? Like, your car has a light come on, you go to the mechanic right away. You go at least to AutoZone and have them hook it up. You know what I mean? And check it out. So it's like, treat your body the same way. You feel something a little funny, let that light go off in your head. Call a doctor. Go to urgent care, wherever the case may be. Don't just sit on it, because so many people die on a daily basis because they don't act on a hunch, on a feeling, on what they actually are physically feeling inside of their body. And you know what I mean? Our thoughts and prayers, shout out to Krayzie Bone, is for his recovery today, but it could have been rest in peace if he didn't act on it, if he didn't jump, you know what I mean, to action. So definitely thoughts and prayers with Krayzie Bone. Hope you recover, brother. Hope we see you back on the stage, because you definitely got a lot more living to do. Have you heard? If you don't know, there's a strike going on with auto workers in this country. And Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, former President Donald Trump, presidential candidate Donald Trump, they've all supported the auto workers. But for some reason, Tim Scott, Senator Tim Scott believes it is not the move. When asked about it, he was asked a question, and he repeats it back to the audience. Would I, as President of the United States, insert myself into this labor dispute? Let me answer the question. Let me answer the first question. I think Ronald Reagan gave us a great example when federal employees decided they were going to strike. He said, you strike, you're fired. Simple concept to me. To the extent that we can use that once again, absolutely. Now, that's gotten some, Tim in a little bit of hot water. United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain has filed a National Labor Relations Board complaint against Senator Tim Scott, accusing the South Carolina senator of engaging in unfair labor practices. And it looks like they just wanted to kind of get some bad press on Tim Scott. Obviously, he's not the president, and even if he was the president, he wouldn't have that type of power. But they say within the past 6 months, the employer has interfered with, restrained, or coerced employees in the exercise of rights guaranteed in Section 7 of the Act. On Monday, September 18th, Tim Scott threatened employees with adverse consequences if they engaged in protected, concerted activity by publicly responding to a question about striking workers as follows: you strike, you're fired. Scott blasted back at the UAW, saying the UAW is one of the most corrupt and scandal-plagued unions in America. They are showing their true colors once again, and auto workers and taxpayers will be left holding the bag. They want to threaten me and shut me up. That doesn't scare me. Tim, I don't know, I don't know who gave you that advice. You know what I'm saying? If people are striking for better conditions, you got to let that play out. I don't see any reason why you would get in that. I'm even a little confused why Joe Biden, he's the first president to get himself into a labor dispute of this nature, to meet with the striking workers, to line up on the picket lines with them. So, I mean, even that, I get it. It's a political year. You know what I mean? He's running again for president. That makes a little bit more sense. But, like, everybody else, I mean, even Joe knows, be on the side of the workers. You never take the side of the employers. You never take the side of the billionaires. Like, that's crazy. Like, it's just nuts. And why you think that would be a popular move. And also in this one, like, I feel him. I feel that, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, the conditions haven't changed in like 30 years. They've only gotten about a $4 rate increase for some of these employees. They'll never be able to reach a certain window of money to be made. Yeah, if they feel they could get it, fight for it. I'll be real with y'all. I don't even really understand why teachers don't strike in this country. Like, teachers get paid shit. You know what I'm saying? And like, they take care of your kids on a daily basis. They got to deal with undiagnosed issues in some kids and just all types of stuff. I'm like, yo, pay these teachers. You know, I don't get why the pandemic, they just don't be like, yo, let's just not show up. We can shut down the whole economy of this country by not showing up to teach your kids until we get paid better, until we get better benefits, until whatever the case may be. But step that pay up, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm riding with the teachers, and they're not even striking. I think there's a healthcare strike that might be brewing up this week. I believe. Let me double check this. I want to say Kaiser Permanente. They're ready to walk off the job this upcoming week, and this could affect about like 5 states, you know what I mean, in a big way, as well as Washington, D.C. Those states are California, Colorado, Oregon, Virginia, and Washington. So they're all, Kaiser Permanente. I believe it's called the Coalition of Kaiser Permanente Unions. And that's healthcare. You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't playing around with that. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna figure that out. So it's like, yeah, ain't nothing wrong with at least trying to get better facilities. You know what I mean? You could try and fail, but it's worth a try. And I will never discourage any employees from not trying to swing the bat at that, man. But yo, right now we gonna switch things up to Perfect Talk Product Talk. If you don't know, that's my small business segment. And this time it's family in the building. It's my brother-in-law, Chaz Knox, the CEO and founder of BrunoKnox LLC. They are a watch company. And you know what I'm saying? They do a little bit of merch too on the side. We'll get into all of that. But make sure you stay tuned. It's Perfect Talk, baby. What's good, y'all? We are back here on Perfect Talk Podcast, and this is one of my favorite segments, man, when I get to chop it up. Small business owners, entertainers, anybody running their own thing, doing the entrepreneurial spirit, and this is called Perfect Talk Product Talk, and this is a special one, man. I got family in the building, you know what I mean? Shout out to my brother-in-law, Chaz Knox. He's in the building. Founder and CEO, I want to say, of the BrunoKnox LLC, right?
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yo, thank you for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. You know, my man Flicker got me on the Perfect Talk podcast. So we about to light it up for you guys.
Hell yeah. Bright and early too in the morning, man. You know what I mean? It's early for me, but how's good? How's everything? How's your weekend going, brother?
Weekend going great, man. I mean, we got a little rain and it's a little dreary outside, but that don't stop me from getting up every morning, man. You know, life is short, so we got to make the most of every minute.
Exactly. And I know y'all see us rocking the BrunoKnox apparel. Like I said, that's my man Chaz's brand. But Chaz, let them know exactly what the brand is. If you've given them the elevator pitch, you know what I'm saying, before we hit the fifth floor and I got to hop off. How you telling them about the brand?
Absolutely. So BrunoKnox is a premium luxury watch brand. We sell timepieces. We have 3 models that are out right now. As you see, me and Plicker got on the BrunoKnox apparel. That's our merchandise that we have out to just get the name out there and sell the watches and sell the clothing and look cool at the same time. You know, all about the culture. You know, we have our flash with us each and every day. So just kind of bringing that flavor to the brand as well. So Swiss made timepieces, 100% Swiss made, straight from Switzerland. Getting it out to the people and looking fly at the same time. So let's get into it.
That's fine. What made you want to lean into watches? Because, you know, I mean, that's a unique brand, you know what I'm saying? And then especially people from our background, we don't usually see that, you know what I'm saying? So what was it about watches that caught your eye?
Oh, man, let me tell you. So what started out is that it was during COVID. You know, from the primary job, you know, people started getting like let go, you know, companies were shrinking and downsizing and things like that. So I had some time on my hands, right? And I was figuring out, you know, I've always been a watch guy, always loved watches, always like being able to put something dope on my wrist. So I said, you know, what would it look like to go ahead and do something on my own, right? So first I went down the avenue of saying like, hey, what other, you know, what brand I want to get? Like you're looking at your Rolexes, your Breitlings, you know, all these big luxury brands. And there's some common denominators that came about that I noticed. And I said, all right, it woke me up in the middle of the night. I popped up and I said, what if I looked down and I saw my own brand on my wrist? What would that feel like? How would that empower me, right? So that took me down a rabbit hole, brother. Like I couldn't sleep for months, man. It's like I was going down a rabbit hole doing all this research. And I got to find out there was some things that were kind of consistent in every luxury watch brand. Right. And if you don't mind, I'll go into that real quick. Those
don't put me on the game.
Yeah, those 3 important pieces, man. It was like, you know, it has to be an automatic, right?
What does that mean?
When you look at all your major brands, they use automatic movements, which is like the brains of the watch, right? That's what gets it to move. So, you know how in rap lyrics, they say, you know, you talk about you're rolling down real if it TikToks and all that type stuff. Okay. Right. So the automatic has what's called a sweeping hand, right? So it kind of sweeps along like this. So even though it ticks, but it ticks so fast that from the naked eye, you don't really see it ticking.
It looks like a constant motion.
Correct. So, you know, you're only going to get that movement in the automatic. So that's one of the big things that I noticed that a lot of the major watch brands had was that the watch had to be an automatic. And I'm like, okay. And also it allows you to be in a certain price point too, right? So I said, okay, cool. Has to be an automatic. Every single brand that's out there that's very popular and, you know, that's just mega, mega luxurious, they're all made in Switzerland. So I said, okay, have to do Swiss made, 100%.
Now,
right?
what's the history behind that? You might not know, but if you do know, what's why Switzerland? Like, why are they
So,
the top dogs about watches? I wondered
yeah,
that
so the reason why that came about, and they almost lost it back in like the late 60s, early 70s. They almost lost it, but I'll go into
because they
why
didn't
it's
want to switch over the battery or something like that. Was it? Or
that's
was it?
correct. They didn't want to
Okay,
go to
yeah. I
courts.
know. Look, I'm up on game. I'm up on game.
Absolutely, yo, bro, you want it. You want it. So the reason why Switzerland is like so big in it. So think about, when you're thinking about Europe, right?
Yeah.
Think about all the different things that kind of came about, like when you have like a blacksmith, right? Blacksmith were used to working with iron, right?
Mhm.
So then when you have people that are working with watches into horology, these people were craftsmen and building clocks,
Okay.
right? So as they were building clocks, and then that throughout the centuries, as that started to change, it kind of took that same skill set and then put it into wristwatches. And wristwatches wasn't even popular at the time. And what actually made it popular to be, unbeknownst to the world probably, is that it was a woman that actually made it popular, right?
Fashion wise, or how'd you make it popular?
Wristwatches. So they made it like a really, really small clock. And they put some type of mechanism on it to be able to wear it on the wrist. So it actually started out with women, became very, very popular with men as time went on, right?
Oh, okay.
So it was very, very interesting in that piece. But Switzerland kind of started that with being able to introduce it to the world as being like the craftsman of being able to build not just the clocks, but then transforming that into building it into wristwatches, right? So they became like the masters of it essentially, right?
Gotcha.
So by them being able to do that, then they started being able to sell it worldwide. So they had like a major foothold on the game in the industry. So all your major brands for wristwatches have a base in Switzerland. So throughout different cities, but all their headquarters are going to point back to Switzerland. Now, the funny thing about it, though, is that we just talked about a little bit where they almost lost it, right?
Yeah.
60s, early 70s, and there's a company called Seiko, right? And a lot of people know the brand, right? Remember Nas talking about getting
Went from
Seiko
Seiko
on,
to Rolex.
There you go. There you go, right? So Seiko is Japanese. So I would say that they're the second biggest manufacturers as far as countries are concerned with building timepieces. And then once Seiko came out with Grand Seiko, where they can really compete head to head with the big luxury brands, I mean, it just went out of this world. And Seiko leads a lot in that quartz world, and they do automatics too. They're phenomenal brands. So don't want to discount them what they're doing. It's just that theirs is more so, hey, we're going to bring it down to a little bit of a lower price point, mass produce it, which is what they're really good at, right? And then they just blast it all across the world. So they sell millions of these watches, over the course of time in a year.
Like they did with cars, because Seiko's Japanese, you said, right?
Absolutely. Same concept, right? Same concept. It's a culture thing, right?
Yeah.
They say, hey, we know how to do it. We're going to try to do it better, right? So when the courts came out saying like, hey, you can do this, and it's battery operated, you don't have to, change the time, you don't have to manually wind it and all that stuff. So introducing the battery concept almost put the watch industry in Switzerland out of business altogether, right? Because it became a race of who could put out the first quartz. Seiko just happened to be the first one, right? And then everybody kind of came after that. And there's some other, variations of, whether there's like a hybrid, what they call like a mecha quartz, right? Where it's like some of it is battery, some of it is automatic, where they kind of combine the two. So there's some concepts that's fairly a newer technology, but it's been around for, a decade or two.
How you power? So if it's not battery power, how you power automatic? Is that the
right,
winders, so like some when people do like that sometimes? Or
there you go. There you go. So with the automatic, right? So you have the hands on the watch, right? So when you set the time, you have your winder, you have your crown, right? The crown is just that little piece on the side of the watch that you use to twist and wind it, right? Okay. So as you're doing that, when you wind it up, it's kind of tightening up those gears and the springs inside the watch to keep it going, just like a traditional clock would. Right. So that's what gets to the hands to move and all that type of stuff. And there's like hundreds of gears and things inside of the movement. That's going to get the watch to move the hands and keep the time.
Got you. Okay. Put me up on game just now. Okay. So, like a little history right there. But while you was talking, I thought of something. So from idea, like, inception of the idea to actually getting it out to something that I can buy as a customer, how long did that process take?
Oh man, I mean, like I said, there was doing a bunch of research. There's some sleepless nights. I probably spent about, all of 20, like I say, like from March 2020 up until the end of 2020, because I want to do it in a time frame where I released it out in 2021 as a new company.
Okay.
Those like 8-9 months as I'm going through that period, I was just kind of like doing ideas and concepts and who to reach out to, right? So the biggest part was, I think the first thought that I had that came about was, how come no one else is doing this?
Okay.
Right. Where are the black owned watch brands? So I started with a Google search, right? Like Google's the best thing ever, right? We don't have to go to the library and look through encyclopedias anymore and all that
I
stuff,
love it.
right?
I love the Google. We can't make no excuses no more. We got it
No,
right there
no,
for free.
absolutely not. Right at your hand, right?
Mhm.
Right at your fingertips. So I just searched. I said, hey, black owned Swiss made watch brands, right?
Mhm.
And what came up was that there's like about 7 or 8 like known black owned watch brands that pretty much came up, and every search I did kind of came up with the same names.
Okay.
But then when I dig deeper into like their websites and their companies and things like that, I noticed that, oh, these are not Swiss made, right? So a lot of times because of cost, right, which is why I figured out why a lot of companies don't do it, because the cost is astronomical sometimes.
Okay.
What they'll do is that in order to get, if they want to spend more time on like design and things of that nature and say, hey, well, we don't want to spend so much on the material itself, where we can still get it out, they may go to China to get it done, right? Because you can get it done at a cheaper cost. You know, China's another country that's impressive with mass production of anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And everything.
Yeah, everything, right? So when you think about bootlegging, the first country you think of is like, oh, China's gonna bootleg my stuff, right?
Yeah, very right. Yeah, 100%.
Right. So, you know, a lot of companies are using Chinese manufacturers and things like that to produce their watches and kind of put them out in mass production really quickly at
lowest cost production to outsource it out to China. Okay, that makes sense.
And you know what I did, I said, you know, this is why it was so important. I had to make it Swiss made at whatever cost it's going to be for me. So the next road was the next task was to find a manufacturer, and I was like, well, it has to be someone that does it, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not a horologist, right? I can't go ahead and get the parts and make a watch myself. And, you know, I mean, it takes thousands of hours to be able to learn that craft, right? To be able to do that. So you know, just like with any company, if you don't do it yourself, you go hire someone that does.
Exactly. You outsource it. Yeah, exactly. Like you just
absolutely,
said.
Absolutely. So had to find a manufacturer. And so the first stop was like, hey, I have to go look into some companies in Switzerland as a manufacturer and see who can actually get this done for me. Mm-hmm. And that was the cause of a lot of sleepless nights, because it takes you down a lot of rabbit holes. You go through a lot of companies. You're looking at what the cost may be. You're looking at, you know, you're talking to different people and different things. And, you know, you have to think about maybe possibly there could be a language barrier too. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, if you're not able to kind of really get on a flight and go there all the time, right? So, you know, that was some of the obstacles and some of the challenges that I faced in the beginning. And then once I was able to nail down a manufacturer that was willing to work with me, I got really, really lucky in the sense that, hey, I was able to do some things by email. I was able to do some things by like how we're doing now, using technology to be able to talk to the manufacturer. Hey, what can you show me? Using, you know, websites and things of that nature. Hey, you know, what's the next step? You know, guide me through this. And, you know, they were so great that they was like, hey, we got your back. We want you to succeed, because you succeeding is us succeeding as well. Okay. So that was a really, really good piece. And then, you know, by the time I got to the point, I mean, trust me, throughout the whole challenge, I'm scared to death because you don't know what's going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. One, you're starting a new business. Two, you're doing a business that's international, right? So, you know, when I went through the process of, you know, we go through the design piece of it. We can do with the, hey, we got to go through the logo piece of it. You know, what that looked like. I was able to do the logo piece for the company here locally in the States. Okay. And gave them the whole concept. So to be honest, I feel like sometimes I might have got jerked on the pricing, right? Because I pretty much gave them the whole idea of what I wanted to look like. And then they kind of gave me what's called the vector piece of it, where you can take a logo and you can blow it up or shrink it, and it doesn't lose its quality and what it looks like.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Right. So, you know, got a local company do that for me. And then so send my logo, send my brand information all over to the manufacturer. They come up with a design. You know, I got feedback on what we want it to look like. And then they get the first mock-up. When they send it over, man, my jaw just dropped. Right. I'm like,
out of amazement.
Yeah, out of amazement. I'm thinking like, I'm there. This is it.
Yeah.
And then it became, hey, well, we can put this into production. Here's the payment that we need, right?
that's the big part.
That's the next challenge. That's probably one of the biggest challenges is funding, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you continuously get into a space to try to get funding? And you know, I talked to, you know, my wife, obviously, your sister, and I talked to one of my best friends, my man Rick, and he's just like, bro, he said there's gonna be some sacrifice. And my friend's been like a serial entrepreneur. He just had to have that spirit where he feels like, hey, I can't work for anyone. Smart as a whip. I don't like working for nobody. So he does all type of different hustles, right? Mm-hmm. So he said, man, you got to put that investment in yourself. He said, put it on a credit card, man, charge it. Okay. And I'm just like, what? I don't want to go into debt for this, right?
Yeah.
but it does take that level of sacrifice to be able to do it, and just believing in it that, hey, whatever you start to sell this product, you're gonna get that money back to pay back the credit card, right?
Exactly.
And that was the first risk, man, the first chance, and not knowing what's gonna come back, but trusting that this manufacturer is 100 with it, right? Knowing that their quality is top notch and all that. So
you touched on something good there. I don't even want to brush past. It's about like even why I asked you how the distance between the idea to making it happen, because a lot of people get that idea. Like I'm even this personality type where I'm like, let's run, let's get it in, let's get it going, and they don't realize that once those obstacles come, that's normal. They think, oh, all right, this ain't meant for me. This is my sign to get out. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, nah, that's the game, and that's what separates the men from the boys, the wolves from the sheep. Is like you're gonna have to know that that's part of it. Another thing you touched on was the investment, putting up money first. You gotta make money to spend money to make money. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to put yourself in over the top debt, because you know what I'm saying. You want to, like any gamble, you want to mitigate your risk. But you know, at some point you're gonna have to know that, yo, I'm taking a chance on me. I'm betting on me, and we help other people achieve their dreams and goals every day. By going to showing up to work, let's give that same energy to ourselves. Let's put that same belief in ourselves. So I didn't want to brush past that too fast, not to cut off your story. My fault.
And no worries. And that's the thing. We can spend all day talking about that, right?
Yeah.
You know, we when we think about it, we go to our 9-to-5 jobs each and every day, but that's also providing income that while you helping this person that owns this big company, their dreams, spend some time, whether it's on the weekends or at nights or whatever, that you put a little piece aside of yourself that you can kind of go towards what your dreams are, using the income that you get from your 9-to-5, plugging it into your business, and hopefully that, you know, that pans out. And even if, because, you know, the biggest thing is regret, right? So you don't want to like leave this earth at some point, or you get to a point where you feel like you're too old to do something, and you say, you know what, when I was in my 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever, I should have did this, and I didn't do it, and I regret that. So, you know, that's one of the other things that I said that kept me up at night during the pandemic. And it was just like, right now I got all the time in the world. I always talked about having my own business, and this was just the best time to do it. And it's like, I can do all the research I have without being sidetracked from a 9-to-5 job. And just kind of diving in and getting it.
And think of the irony of that, right? That the pandemic is put us in a situation where it's like, yo, set up an entrepreneurial thing, because your job might just be like, yo, don't come in. Don't show up no more. You know what I'm saying? The world's different now. So set that safety net up for yourself. Like you said, if you put a little bit in, it's like you would have been good. You know what I'm saying? You'd have had, you know what I mean, when the pandemic hit. So use that as a stepping stone. History repeats itself. So don't be caught assed out when it happens again. You know what I mean? Put that investment in yourself. Take like 10% each day, you know what I'm saying, to build that up.
Absolutely. And then, you know, obviously it's we talked about basically being diligent, right? Because it's going to take that internal fortitude to kind of keep going day by day. It's definitely, there's days that I don't feel like it. I don't feel like trying to do content. I don't want to feel like looking for new material or new products or new anything, right? Is there a new colorway I want to look at? Is there a new metal I want to look at? Is there another manufacturer that I need to contact, right? Because right now I have all my eggs in one basket working with one manufacturer. I love them, but what if they go belly up, right? And now I got to find another manufacturer. So just kind of putting that homework in to kind of stay ahead of the game too is part of it. Exactly. So, you know, I say to everybody that's listening and watching is that, you know, just keep one step at a time. Don't kind of fall into that paralysis by analysis, which I fell into a lot in the beginning, right? And even before starting a company, is that you go through all the different pieces of how to do it for so long, and it's just running around in your mind, and you never take one step doing anything.
Now I know a lot of people that suffer from that.
Oh, absolutely. So, you know, by doing this, I mean, the pandemic because there's so many things that you have to do before the product actually launches, right? So I was able to find a platform to get so started with the logo, found a platform to do the domain name, right? Okay. Building the website. I didn't hire no one else to do that for me, because now you can pretty much do it. And now with like ChatGPT, they can actually do the whole website for you, which I wish they had in 2020 where I can do it that way. It would save me a lot of time.
But now it's good, because now you know the game. Now you can help someone build theirs. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So and now you got a new skill.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, spin that off into another thing, right? So now there's BrunoKnox Consulting, right? Where if someone wants some advice, you know, I don't publicize it a lot, but, you know, I help my little sister build a website, build a company, get a logo, you know, do all that stuff for her. And, you know, charge a small fee to do it. But, you know, for anyone else, you know, I'm gonna have to hike that price up, right? Because,
it's such a key thing. Yeah, but yesterday's price is not today's price. I hear that, brother. But no, it's such a key thing that holds people back. It's like they'll be like, I got the idea, but where I'm gonna get the logo at? Where I'm gonna get the merch at? Where I'm gonna get? But just to have those answers for them and that resource for them, people will pay top dollar for that. Why not? Hell yeah,
absolutely. you do, if I did all the work up front, right? And I can give it to you in a minute, right? That just cut months of your time out.
You
I just
chat
say, hey,
GPT now. You AI.
Exactly. That's it. So
That's fire.
continue progression, bro. That's it, man. One step at a time, and try not to get yourself overwhelmed with, all the obstacles, because they're going to be there.
Yeah.
Right. But, this is other stuff too. Like, like I said, before you even putting out the product, registering your business with the state, right? Mm-hmm. The Secretary of State for whatever state that you're in, getting that all registered. That's going to cost some money. Right. And then having your name, doing there's some free things like getting your EIN, which is your employee identification number. That's free, right? People may think that costs something. It doesn't. Go to IRS website, irs.gov, go ahead and order, get his stuff taken care of. Once you have it registered with the state, boom, you get it in within minutes.
And that's so right? That's so fire to have someone that looks like us to know that information, because it's been held back from us for so long. So like just to be a resource to you saying it out here, somebody that looks like you is like, oh, okay, I can make that phone call, I can make that Google search. You know what I'm saying? So it's really good to see that. And we're gonna go to the positive in a second, because I know we keep dwelling on the negative. But what advice do you have? Because I know you might have started the business and put something out, and then it didn't get the response at first, or you might make a post on social media, it don't get the views, it don't get the likes. I put a lot of stuff out on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I say what I do, I got to be a little bit crazy to do it, because it's like if you're not a little insane, you're not gonna be able to deal with the shit not popping at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people can't deal with that, and then they friends and family seeing it and all that. So you know what I mean? They feel they get in their own head about it. So what advice do you give somebody if it's you don't get that sale the first day? You know what I mean? You launched the business, you told everybody about it, and now it's kind of slow. How'd you deal with that?
Oh man. So first of all, like the things that we talked about, I don't want to say that it's negative, but it's definitely like the steps that you got to go through, challenges that you got to overcome.
It's not the happy parts. It's not the happy
parts. It's not the happy part, right? That's the fun, glitzy part that everybody sees on social media, right?
Exactly.
So what keeps me going with it is, right, so you put it out. First, you got to spend your time doing a great design or what you want to put out in social media, whatever platform you're using, IG, Facebook, whatever. And, in your mind, you're thinking it's fire, right? Like, oh, I put this together. This looks great. And you put it out there. And like you said, you don't get the response that you want. Mm-hmm. Just trying to get it out in front of as many people as possible. You can't let that deter you. You just have to keep putting out the content until it pops, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think so many times we see the people that become what we think is an overnight success, right? They get like, they put out their first, post or reel or live or whatever. They get some million followers and all these views and all that type of thing. But, you have to understand, like, what's the percentage of the people that get that to happen, right? You're probably talking about maybe 1 to 5% of the people out there that can get that done in that way, right? And you don't know what they did behind the scenes to get that to happen.
Or how they're going to sustain it. You know what I mean? Is it
how they're going to sustain it?
Dropping the bucket, or is it a one-time thing? You know what I mean? So
yeah, maybe like Vanilla Ice, Ice Baby, one hit wonder, boom, then you're out of here, right? But I think a lot of us will take the one hit wonder, right? If it's going to make us a millionaire.
You can live off the residuals, right? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
Absolutely.
And you touched on something too, when you put it out on one platform, if it don't pop, there's another platform. Like there's another platform. I always got caught up in all my friends is on this one. And you start really thinking the world is that big. You forget how big the world is. There's strangers on the other side of this planet that will rock with what you got out. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be out there for them to see you. They're not gonna see you.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to think there's billions of people on the planet, right? Billions, right? You don't need that many people to be able to not just watch your stuff or just see it or like your post. I mean, that's cool, but you only need probably a small percentage or a small amount of people to really just purchase your product to get it to take off.
Convert into customers, yeah.
Absolutely. So, I broke that down, right? So that's another thing that you probably want to do, in any business, if you're selling a product, that is. Calculate and say, hey, how much money do I want to make in a year, right? How many products do I need to sell in a week, in a month, in a year to get to that dollar amount, right? And then of that dollar amount, how much of that is going to be profit? How much of that do I need to re-up and put back in the business to buy more products, right? So kind of doing that kind of like basic math. People think it's harder than what it is, but it's more so being consistent and always keeping your eye on the ball with it. But figuring that part out, once you have it, you're done with it. It's not like you gotta, reinvent the wheel, saying you just kind of scale it, right? So
why do you think that's so important though? Cause I've heard many business owners say that same thing. Make a number that you want to hit for the next 12 months or the next 5 years. Why do you think that's so important, and why do some people neglect to do that?
Yeah, I think it's important just to kind of keep your eye on the prize, and one, to kind of set realistic goals.
Okay.
Because I think everyone has the big lofty idea to say, hey, I want to be a millionaire, right? You know, of course, a million today is not what a million was back in the day, right?
Very
But
true.
at the same time, with all the technology, it does make it a little easier to obtain. But make it like, so I'm not saying, hey, my first month, I want to make $1 million, right? It's like, all right, that might be a little unrealistic, Chaz. That may not be what it is. But maybe you start off with saying, hey, maybe I want to sell one watch a week, right?
Okay.
Maybe I start off with one watch a month, right? And keep putting out content until it happens. And then it starts to snowball, right? Maybe you get family and friends first, and then you start getting some strangers. Then you start looking at, hey, where did those strangers come from? What state are they in, or what country are they in? Oh, maybe I can cater to them, right? Is there a little community that's going to support me in the way that I need it to be to kind of make this pop? So it's important to do that, because, you know, you hear so often that a lot of businesses fail within the first year or two, right? So it's important to kind of keep going and making sure that, you know, you kind of taking the right steps so that way you don't fail, but then finding those people, that community, those businesses, whatever that it is, that can support you, right, through the time to kind of keep you going. So I have another brother-in-law, Clarence, and he said the first thing he said to me when I started the business, and actually I think if I remember correctly, he bought the very first watch.
Okay.
And he said, look, he said, I don't care what happens, don't stop. He said, do not stop this brand. Do not stop what you're doing. He said, I don't care if you ain't selling nothing ever again. Do not stop it, right? Because you just never know when it's going to pop off, right?
I think that's the key to most people failing. They stop right before they're about to hit that finish line.
Yeah. You know, and in my everyday job, we do direct sales where we knock door to door, right? Okay. So I'm a manager in that space with a telecom company. And one of the sayings that we have is knock one more door, right?
That might be the one.
You don't want to do it. That may be the one. You may not have had a sale all day long. You knock one more door, you might meet the nicest people. They're trying to buy everything from you, but you wouldn't know it unless you knock that door, right? So it's very important to make sure that you kind of map out where you want to go, where you want to be realistic, and then just take those steps. It could be baby steps, or they could be large, huge jumps, but just kind of keep going forward. And don't, like, you're not in a race with everyone else. I think that's what social media kind of messes it up for us, right? They think we're in a race with everyone because you see someone popping and, oh, they did this and they did that, but, you know, why can't I do it? But you can do it, but you're not going to do it on their time schedule, right? You're going to do it on your time schedule. So, you know, as I'm doing this now, you know, maybe this doesn't blow up, and maybe I don't become rich from it, or maybe if I do, maybe I'm not even allowed to see it, right? Right. So that's another thing that we talked about, studying, right? Research, you know, month 1, month 2, starting the business. I looked at all the brands, right? Like, you know, you look at your luxury brands, your Gucci's, your Louis, you know, your Christian Louboutin, all these guys, right? A lot of them, the creators and the founders of these businesses, these ones that's been around for 100 years, 200 years, whatever, the initial person that founded the company wasn't the one that blew it up.
Dead and gone by the time it was popping.
No, they were gone. They were gone, right? So it was their son, their grandson, their granddaughter, whoever, that got it to be the brands that we know today that everyone loves and probably everyone has in their house somehow, right? Whether it's a t-shirt, a pen, a belt, a shirt, whatever, right? You have something of that
even
brand.
Artwork. Even most artists aren't appreciated till they dead. So
Right. So to me, what I said to myself was, even if I'm not the one that's going to benefit from this, which also plays into the name, right? So obviously the way the name came about, BrunoKnox is my wife's maiden name, and it's my last name. And we put it together. And then that way, if I'm not here, or my wife's not here to benefit from it, the kids are there to benefit from it.
Legacy.
And then maybe the kids, right? So it only makes sense that, you know, and obviously, you know, the logo looks dope too. It looks cool.
Exactly.
You know, I studied that, right? When you look at Gucci, they got the 2 G's. You look at Louis Vuitton, they got the LV, right? So BrunoKnox, they got the BK, right? So coming up with a logo that's not already out there in production with, you know, there's plenty of companies that have BK. You got Burger King, right? But coming with something that you don't see all the time and put it in a way where other people can see it. So all that plays a part of taking those steps and trying to do as much as you can to put you in the right spot, because you never know. Like, as this is built, someone else may come along and say, you know what? I like this idea. I want to invest in you. Or, hey, you know what? You got something good going and you're just like this far away from that scale part that we were talking about earlier. And now we want to get it to a mass amount of people that can be able to buy your product and support your brand and that sort of thing. So
Nah, that's lit, bro. I love what you're doing, and something I'll even tell you is like I love as much as you do the watches, keep doing that because that's heavy. And that's where it's at. But keep putting the apparel out, man. I love the apparel. I love seeing it. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'll always rock it here on Perfect Talk Podcast. Definitely to show as much love as I possibly can. You know what I mean? But let the people know. Let them know the website. Let them know where they can find you at. Let them know all
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. So the website is www. If you still want to drop that in, BrunoKnox.com, right? All spelled out, BrunoKnox.com.
Y'all can see it right there below on the YouTube. Go check that out.
Absolutely. So we're also available on your social media platforms at BrunoKnox LLC. So that's on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. So you can actually go to those platforms and buy the product from there. I definitely recommend coming directly to the website, right? Because you never know what type of deal you're going to get. So as we go throughout the year, absolutely, going through DJ Playboy, right? Actually, he's going to hook you up, guys up. So anyone that is watching this video and you'll have it set up where we have a discount code where you get 10% off for being a new customer going through the platform and checking it out, right?
You have it right there, right below. You know what I mean? Let them go check it out. Put in that. I think Perfect Talk was the promo code we went with, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Absolutely.
Yep,
so go ahead and check it out on Perfect Talk.
How much they get with that Perfect Talk, with the Perfect Talk hookup? 10%, 10%, 15%, what they get?
10%. We're gonna hook you up with 10% off. Discount code for all the viewers and watchers for Perfect Talk. So go ahead. It's
10%, but it's, you know what I'm saying, like it's watches. So you know what I'm saying, 10% is a nice little chunk off of that. You know what I'm talking about? So
absolutely. So right now we're doing the discount codes on the watches. Not checking out the apparel yet, but that could be something else that's coming soon too as we look to expand the catalog. Okay. So right now I have 3 models. I mentioned that a little earlier too. So we have our BrunoKnox Atlantic Blue, right, which I'm rocking today. I don't know how much you can get that, but check it out.
That's fire.
Stainless steel.
Show them the detail one more time. Show them the detail. Let them see the bottom of that. I like the insignia at the bottom. That's fire, bro. That's nice.
So I know you got the little light on there. So you got the BrunoKnox on the clasp.
Okay.
Sapphire crystal, stainless steel. These are all the things that we talked about luxury watch brands have. Made sure that it's Swiss made as well with the movement and 100% produced in Switzerland. So when it's manufactured and comes over to the States, gotta pay the taxes on it too, right? Gotta get through customs. So that's another piece.
And then there was two other watches you told me about. Was the Atlantic Blue and then
right, the Atlantic Black. So if you like black or got gear that kind of goes with the black color a lot, so we got that. And then we also have the Ambiance Blue, right? So it has a brown calf letters band with the blue dial, stainless steel face as well with sapphire crystal. So if you like a more everyday watch where you don't like it to shine as much with the stainless steel, we do have a leather band option as well for you.
That's fire, bro. That's fire, man. Yo, thank you so much for coming on today, Chaz. Go check out the BrunoKnox brand, you know what I'm saying? Not only because he's a dope brother, but because that's family Perfect Talk. You know what I'm saying? We got to show love. We also got to support Black businesses. I love what you're doing. It's something I want to showcase, and I love people that look like me doing fly things I want to do, and I think the youth out there need to see more of that. So thank you so much for, giving us some time today and telling the people what you do out here, Chaz.
Oh, absolutely. My man, DJ Playboy, my brother, I love you. Thanks so much for having me on your platform. And keep doing what you're doing too, man. We always there to support each other, man. And Black-owned businesses, and just we got to support each other, love on each other, and because that's how we're gonna make it. That's how we're gonna sustain. So kudos to you as well, brother.
Thank you, Chaz. We up out of here, man. Say goodbye to the people.
All right, see you later, people. 10% off. BrunoKnox.com. Come see me.
Peace.
Later.
Perfect Talkers, we are back, man. Thank you for watching the Perfect Talk product talk segment we had today, and thank you for watching the episode. I appreciate y'all rocking out with us, man. You can find your boy DJ Playboy on X at DJ Playboy. You can find me on Instagram at Plickapeezy, PLICCAPEEZY. Also follow Perfect Talk Podcast on Instagram at Perfect Talk Radio. Check out the website, www.perfecttalkpodcast.com. Every episode of the Perfect Talk Podcast right up there on there. Also, you can find every episode of the Perfect Talk Podcast on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody rocking with us on YouTube. Go check us out if you're not on there. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you like. Make sure you hit them notifications. You know what I mean? We are holding it down for y'all. And I did say I was going to shout out, some good comments. And this one is no different. This one's a dope one. It comes from 0723 Trinity. And it was on the episode where we were talking about Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. They wrote a letter for Danny Masterson. And it got leaked, and then they had to apologize. Go check it out. So the comment was, "Oh, please, we all have shitty friends." And the family asked them. The letters are not public record. They are for the judge to read and get a glimpse of who the person was in the eyes of friends and family. Ashton and Mila are talking about the guy they knew. Grow up. I can't knock it, you know what I mean? Like I said, I might have made that same mistake too, if I was them. Just because, I think a lot of people would. Just people look out for their friends. But thank you, 0723 Trinity, for hopping in the comments. Y'all go out there, make sure you leave a comment, and you might get showcased on a future episode of the Perfect Talk podcast, man. Also, what are we watching nowadays, man? Nothing but football. I ain't gonna front. I've been heavy into football. It's been that season. Shout out to the Miami Dolphins too, man. Dropped a 70 banger on these dudes, man. Dropped a 70 banger on Russell Wilson's head. They beat the Broncos 70-20. I believe that was the highest total from one team scored since 1966. Come on, Denver. You got them setting records on y'all like that. But yeah, I never seen nothing like that. Miami's looking like a beast this year. But I'm still rocking with my Bills. That whole AFC looking kind of crazy. We got to get Aaron Rodgers out of there. Now we got to figure something out about Miami because they looking like beast over there. But yeah, man, it's all I've been rocking with. Just rocking with some football. You know what I mean? I got some new music coming out for y'all, so make sure y'all stay tuned. And I'm just gonna keep holding it down, man. It's your guy DJ Playboy. I'm up out of here. Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. And I'll catch y'all next week. Peace.